G'day everybody, how you going today? It is so good to see you. I do hope that you are super well. Today, we're here to talk about this. No, not the ZF, which I was trying to match with my jacket, but it didn't work at all. But this cool little lens here, which is a 9mm 5.6 full frame, fully manual lens from 7artisans. And this lens has just been released globally. In this video, I will show you some video and still images from the lens, and plus we will go through a little bit of how it feels, how it looks, and a bit of a chat around 9mm, because that is super wide. All right, let's talk about the 7artisans 9mm 5.6 full frame manual lens. And how good does this lens look on the ZF? The ZF in Sunset Orange. I really do like this color. It looks absolutely superb. Now, it's interesting that we're getting these types of lenses. Love this metal cap. That's just on there with friction. And as we can see with the design of this lens, it is quite compact. There's not much to it, but I can tell you, it does have a fair amount of heft for something this small. And I would think that that's coming in somewhere around 500 grams. Also, what I love about this lens is the focus ring is beautifully dampened. It just has the right level of resistance for manual focusing. And I think this is super important with manual focus lenses. And we also have the aperture ring that sits here at the front, right behind the front element, or very close to the front element, fully manual, going from 5.6 all the way round to f22. When you're this wide, you have a 132-degree field of view. Now that's epically wide. You know, 90, a right angle, that is wide. But we have another 42 degrees, not quite 180, but it's halfway between 90 and 180. It's a very wide field of view. Now, with my testing so far, if we get our horizon straight, if we get the camera and the horizon flat, which is how I like to shoot because I like my verticals to be vertical, even at 9mm, gives us vertical sides. Now, this is amazing to me because this is a fully manual lens. There's no EXIF data going to the camera. Now, I've shot with this lens, not telling the camera, because you can dial in non-CPU lenses. And I've shot without telling the camera what I'm doing. Now, you should do that in order to stabilize your lens. It's pretty important. But if you don't do that, the camera has absolutely no idea what it's shooting, and it can't be compensating for that. So I do not believe that the cameras are compensating for the lens and those verticals. Okay, we're at 1/50th on the 9mm. And the crazy thing here is, as I am about 6 or 7 feet, just over 2 meters from this wall, and you can see the scale of that door over there. It's just so wide. Now, we can see there's a very small amount of curvature here in the lens with that horizontal line. For stills, this is correctable. We're at 51,200 ISO, 4K, 10-bit H.265 ZF. The other thing, which I think is fabulous, because I've used a lot of these sort of lenses in the past, not quite this wide, but specialty wide-angle lenses, and sometimes they can be a little bit soft. This lens is sharp in the middle. And as we go out towards the edges, it does start to distort, not vertical distortion, but just a stretching of reality, because of course we are dragging 132 degrees into back down to 35mm. There is just some sort of stretching of reality that happens out on those edges. But because of the way that we use this type of lens, that's not something that's a problem most of the time, especially if you're doing landscape or environmental architecture. But it does mean that you can get some really interesting and creative outcomes, which I will share in this video. And it's really interesting to use this lens in different ways than we normally shoot. For example, canopies of trees, bridges, and just getting a scene of a room, which somehow is more akin to how when we walk into a room, we will quickly scan the room and we can see the whole room. Yes, we don't see in 9mm, but we kind of take the world in much wider than the 35 to 50mm, which we usually equate with human vision. And thus, I think this lens is doing a great job of what it is. 9mm, sharp in the middle, hard to tell whether it's sharp on the edges because of everything that's going on. And I haven't actually done a brick wall test. I will be taking this lens out further. We're getting this video out for the global launch, and so more to come in this space. Now, it's not a fast lens, it's 5.6, and thus so much of everything we look at out there is in focus unless you do focus on the lens. The minimum focus distance is 20 centimeters, which means you can still do some interesting and artistic things. This lens comes in at $479 US. So if you're looking for something that is super duper wide and you don't need autofocus, this is a really good option at $479 US. Here are the specs of this lens. And part of why I put this lens on the ZF, not only does it look cool, they're both sort of strutting their retro sort of vibes. This is actually a really nice, really good looking setup here with these two together. But of course, the ZF has actually been, technology-wise, also designed to work with manual lenses, and it has the manual eye autofocus lens feature, which zeroes in on the eyes, and then when you focus, it allows you to focus in that area. These two are actually coupled really well together. Along with Nikon's best-in-class IBIS, it means any lens from this lens all the way out to something like 200 to 300 mils, manual lenses that don't have VR can be handled by the ZF's extraordinary IBIS unit.
But this truly is the power of this lens. We're at 125th ISO 8000. And I can get this whole church in one frame, which is pretty awesome.
It's a great time for Z. It's a great time for more native Z lenses, native mount Z lenses. Of course, this is a 7artisans lens. Depending on what you shoot, this is a really interesting and good option. And well, it just looks cool, as we can see here. Well, I hope you enjoyed those few video clips and images from this lens. As I said, there will be more to come, but this is the first look and launch video of the 9mm 5.6 full frame, fully manual 7artisans lens, which you can get from now on. Now, of course, as this is a fully manual lens, you can use it on any Z camera, Z30, Z50, ZFC, Z5, Z6, Z7, 2s, Z8 and Z9, and of course, the ZF. It works on all of them. It works superbly. The closest we have in native Nikon lenses, Z lenses, which are autofocus and extraordinary lenses in their own right. There is currently the 14 to 30 f4 and the 14 to 24 2.8. Both lenses I've used, both lenses are extraordinary. This is in a different league. Far, far less expensive at $479 US and giving you 9mm instead of 14.
Honestly, that's a pretty awesome look. And I'm walking
really interesting level of expression that comes from this type of lens. And I look forward to playing with it more. With that 20 centimeters, something like that, minimum focus distance, it really means you can do some interesting things. And I do think you could get close enough to your subject, depending on what your subject is, to actually create out of focus backgrounds. Cool. I think it's cool. Do let me know in the comments below, is this a lens that might be of interest to you? There are some affiliate links below if you want to use those. Some of them are affiliates to me, some of them are not. But it's great to support the channel as much as you can. Doesn't cost you anything extra. And of course, these videos don't make themselves by themselves without me being involved, that's for sure. And I'm heavily involved. I'd love to know your thoughts about these lenses, and if this is your first time, I'd love to see you again, so please do subscribe, please share, and please like. And how cool does this lens look on the brand new sunset orange Nikon Zf, which I just think may well go on to be one of the best releases we've seen from any manufacturer in a long time. There's something going on here, and it is going out to the world. And just to finish, because it's relevant to this lens and it's relevant to all of the third-party lens manufacturers who are making manual lenses, the ZF has been designed to work well with adapted and manual lenses. And it's actually got some unique features which help to make this even easier. It's deliberate this is here. This is a great combo, these two together. Good stuff, 7artisans. I think this is a great option. I'll see you soon.